Way up high, floating gently above our world, lived a very, very small cloud. His name was Nibby. Now, Nibby wasn't like the other clouds. The big, puffy clouds were always showing off. They'd rumble and grumble, bragging about the booming thunderstorms they could create, the drenching rain they could pour down, and best of all, the beautiful thick blankets of snow they could lay over the mountains. Nibby would listen, tucked away behind a much bigger cloud, and wish with all his little might that he could make snow too. More than anything, he wanted to see the world sparkle under a fresh coat of white. One day, Nibby decided today was the day he was going to try tea. He took a deep, deep breath, puffing himself up as big as he possibly could. He wiggled and jiggled, trying to get all his tiny water droplets to come together. He squeezed and squeezed with all his strength, hoping, just hoping, for one tiny perfect snowflake to fall, but ... nothing. Not even a single shimmer. A group of big, grumpy storm clouds drifted by. They saw little Nibby struggling. "Look at that little fluff ball," one of them boomed. "You're trying to make snow? Ha! You're far too small for that. You couldn't even make a raindrop." They all laughed, their voices like distant thunder, and floated away, leaving Nibby feeling smaller and sadder than ever. He sighed a misty little sigh and drifted along, watching the world below. Time passed, and a chilly winter wind began to blow. One evening, as the stars began to pop out one by one in the dark sky, Nibby floated over a cozy little village nestled in a valley. Lights twinkled in the windows of the houses, and in the center of the village square, people were setting up for their annual winter festival. But something was wrong. The ground was bare and brown. There was no snow for sledding, no snow for building snowmen, no snow to make the festival feel magical. The children looked up at the sky with hopeful faces, but it was clear and empty, except for tiny Nibby. A deep sadness filled Nibby's heart. He couldn't bear to see their disappointed faces. He remembered the big clouds' laughter, but looking at the village, he felt a new kind of determination. "I have to try," he whispered to himself. "Just one more time." So, with a renewed spirit, Nibby took an even deeper breath than before. He puffed himself up until he felt like he might pop. He shook with all his might, rattling every single one of his droplets. He squeezed and pushed and concentrated harder than he ever had in his whole life. For a moment, nothing happened. Nibby's heart sank. But then, something fluttered down. A single, perfect, six-pointed snowflake twirled through the air. Nibby gasped. He did it. He focused again, and another snowflake appeared, then another and another. Soon a gentle flurry was falling from the little cloud. Nibby was so happy. He kept going, letting his snowflakes drift down, down, down. They danced in the air, landing softly on the rooftops, the trees, and the village square. The villagers below looked up in amazement. "It's snowing." A child shouted with glee. Cheers erupted from the crowd as Nibby, glowing with pride and joy, covered the entire village in a soft, magical, sparkling blanket of snow. The festival was saved. Children made snow angels, and the whole village square shimmered beautifully under the moonlight. The next day, the big clouds who had laughed at Nibby drifted back. They saw the joyful village and the trail of glistening snow left by the little cloud. They floated over to Nibby, looking a bit sheepish. "We're sorry, Nibby," the grumpiest one rumbled softly. "We were wrong. We make big, messy storms, but you brought pure joy with your little bit of snow. It just goes to show it's not about how big you are. It's about the size of your heart." From that day on, Nibby was no longer just a small cloud. He was Nibby, the bravest, happiest little snow cloud in the entire sky, and he drifted on, always ready to share a little bit of magic. Thanks for watching. If you loved Nibby's story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time.